I chose to do this master's degree of advanced architectural design because it's cinematic, it's different, and it teaches you to look at architecture in a different perspective. So I've found it really interesting, and the person leading it, Gul, is very excited about the program, and so she just makes it really interesting. We had a brief for the first semester, which was creating a venue for funerals and weddings. And I was really focusing on creating a green space in Belfast, which there is a serious lack of. And it was all about how you walk through the building and experiencing it cinematically, which is different from regular architecture. So we were exploring the project through storyboards and really getting into the building, especially through film, and creating walkthroughs of the entire project. So that was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that. The other project I did was about the homeless and creating a centre that connected them to the wider community. And that was also based on films, so we did a lot of film analysis beforehand, trying to understand how architecture is used in film, and then how film can be used in architecture and how they benefit one another. So the first 2 semesters were really closely aligned with MArch1. So we were trying to meet the same learning outcomes, and it was guided by the same principles. While the last semester is really about what we want to do. There's no real brief. We can do paintings or set design or films or anything we want. So it becomes really artistic towards the end.
I picked advanced architectural design to study cinematic architecture. It's a very abstract form. It's more a form of representation, a form of studying to get concepts. You can come up with very original projects, ones which are maybe less focused on architecture but more focused on the atmosphere that you create in your spaces rather than your building as a whole. And that's something that I maybe skipped out on in undergrad, and it's something that whenever coming into masters I wanted to focus in more on, so advanced architectural design and focusing on cinematic architecture was the wise choice. I was sort of trying to be realistic with my projects, but what I really found was that my tutors were trying to push the boundaries, make me think outside the box, and that's what really ended up with me being proud of my project, was that it was so outside of the area of architecture that I was comfortable with, outside my comfort zone. And whenever you start to do that, whenever you start to create these really original boundaries, starting to go into fields that you're really unfamiliar with, that's whenever you start to open your mind, and whenever you produce work that you have never seen you produce before, it makes you be a lot more proud of it.
So we built our designs in digital softwares, and then they took it and created VR from that.
I guess that the whole thing that it was through was the idea of interdisciplinary. There's something, a skill that architects need to start to incorporate coming into the future. So working with another discipline, software engineers are possibly ones that will be quite heavily involved with architects in the future. We learned a little bit of how they work and the softwares that they would use. For us, it was all about learning how to push their boundaries a little bit, start to test them, see how far they can go, and then that also started to influence our designs a little bit as well, thinking about our designs are going to be put into VR.
You have to develop the models a lot more, you add a lot more detail. You think when you're developing your renders, it's just one view or 2 views that you sort of tailor. But once you start doing walkthroughs, and especially for the VR where people can just go wherever they want, you have to be in control of the entire building.